Hola a todos. My name is Grant Adams, and this is the first of many videos that I will be creating to document my journey, my pilgrimage in northern Spain, the Camino de Santiago. And for some of you that are watching this, you might not really know what it is, so I kind of wanted to explain the history behind El Camino de Santiago briefly, and then why I'm doing it, and for what reason am I creating these videos. First of all, the Camino de Santiago is not a new concept. It's existed for over 1,000 years. In fact, during the time of Christ, there is a saint, Saint James the Apostle, and he was preaching in northern Spain in the area of Galicia. That's where Santiago de Compostela is located. And on his way back to Jerusalem, it was said that he was beheaded by King Herod in 44 AD. So his followers decided to take his remains and bury them in Galicia. And in fact, he was undiscovered until the 9th century, around 813. And they decided to build a shrine in his name, which is the birth of Santiago de Compostela. Now, in the 900s, around 997, the Moorish army ended up destroying the statue. But in the 12th century, the Cathedral of Santiago was rebuilt, and that brought a lot of people to the area, which is now known as the pilgrimage. In fact, in 1140, the first guidebook per se, or at least instructions or a type of explanation of Santiago, El Camino de Santiago, was written, was published actually. The Camino de Santiago was actually pretty popular at the time. I mean, it was as popular as traveling to Jerusalem or Rome. But in the 17th, 18th, 19th century, due to religious conflict, political conflict, wars, it kind of lost its luster and wasn't as popular. But recently, especially in the 1980s to now, it has gotten to be very popular. People from around the world want to participate as pilgrims, peregrinos, in the Camino de Santiago. So I've decided to do that. I'm going to go ahead and be another of the many peregrinos to travel to Santiago de Compostela. Ideally, I would like to walk the entire route, which is what a lot of peregrinos do, although I don't have 2 to 3 months, because that's usually how long it takes. So I decided to do the alternative option, which is ride a bike. I will be taking about 14 to 15 days for the journey, and my goal is to arrive on the weekend of the celebration of the Holy Year, which is the 25th of July. And that's when all of the pilgrims converge on Santiago de Compostela for the big celebration. Now you got to keep in mind, there are many different ways to get to Santiago de Compostela. This is not a marathon, this is not a race, this is not an event where you start at a certain point and follow a specific route. Now there are designed routes to take to get to Santiago de Compostela, but I'm not starting with hundreds of people and then a timer, go. It's not like that. I can actually take my time. I could ride as many miles as I want on bicycle in a day. When I get tired, I'll be bouncing around different little cities. In fact, the route that I'm going to take, among many, because there are many routes. You have the Camino Frances, you have the Camino del Norte, which is the one I'm going to do. You've got the Camino Portugués, you've got the Via de la Plata, you've got Camino Primitivo, which is really the original route. And I decided to do the northern route because I want to see the coastal area of northern Spain. A lot of beautiful views from the coast up north. So that's why I chose that route. There are several reasons why a person would want to do the Camino de Santiago. It could be for spiritual reasons, cultural reasons, it could be for personal growth, anything else. It could be for a physical challenge, or just simply looking for a great adventure. Now personally, why I'm doing it, there are a couple different reasons. My wife, my beautiful wife, is from Spain, and anything that has to do with her culture, I have interest in. And since the Camino de Santiago was a big piece of the Spanish culture, I wanted to partake in that and be able to experience that. That's one reason. Another reason is I'd like a great adventure. I will be traveling by myself. I will be able to meet interesting people along the way. And I'm looking forward to that experience. And lastly, I am a high school Spanish teacher, and I want to create content for my classes. I'm going to interview people and create videos that I could use in my class to not only help them develop their Spanish speaking ability, but learn a little bit about a different culture at the same time. So for education purposes, I'm doing it. Anyway, I hope that you enjoy all the videos that I'm going to post during my adventure, during my journey. And as they say in Spanish, y colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado. Adiós.